We're picking back up on our chapter that we got interrupted on, Bitten, the Secret History of Lyme Disease and Biological Weapons by Kris Newby. Okay. It read, we are looking at least 4 parasitic or microbial agents that are associated with the Idemani deer ticks from a highly endemic area of Lyme disease. We are looking at least 4 parasitic or microbial agents that are associated with Idemani deer ticks from a highly endemic area of Lyme disease. Without our knowledge that penicillin is highly effective in treatment ECM, the bullseye rash, and Lyme disease, one could speculate that each of these agents could be involved in the etiology of these disorders. Penicillin sensitivity, however, make the rickettsia-like symbionts, and particularly the spirochetes, prime targets for further investigations. It is unknown why that the section was later deleted, but shortly after the article was written, Willie went back to Neckartal for about 2 months to resume research on Rickettsia helvetica. He also went to Basel to visit his mother, who had recently had a stroke. He wrote to his Swiss friend Achilleman that he would be eligible to retire in 1982 after 30 years of service in the NIH, and wondered if there was a possibility of working at the University of Neckartal for a few years. This brings me back to Willie's 3 confessions to the indie filmmaker, to me, and on the sticky note on top of a box of bioweapons documents. What exactly was Willie feeling guilty about? Omitting the Swiss agent USA findings from the Lyme disease discovery articles represented a serious breach of scientific ethics on Willie's part. Willie was the lead researcher, and he was the one who possessed direct knowledge of the test results showing rickettsia resembling the Swiss agent. At this early stage of research, Willie should have mentioned all potential pathogens. Did Willie feel guilty about going along with a cover-up of a biological weapons release? Was he worried about violating his secrecy oath? My instincts say that he knew when and where the agents got out, but was afraid to tell me the details. And finally, was there a darker secret? Willie felt guilty about? There was his claim that he'd twice been questioned by the feds about missing biological agents. He had mentioned these visits to me, Luis, Tim Gray, and Ron Lindorf. Could the outbreak on Long Island be associated with a biological release by a foreign entity? As improbable as it might seem, Willie would have been a prime target for Soviet espionage recruiters. He had easy access to biological agents. He could travel frequently to Europe without raising suspicions. He spoke 3 languages, and he had money pressures that could have been leveraged by a foreign power. Also, he had a large amount of money hidden in a bank account about which his 3 heirs knew nothing. To both me and Ron Lindorf, Willie expressed criticism of the United States biological weapons experiments he participated in, and perhaps at some point he felt that sharing information on the United States program with our enemies was justified as a way of leveling the playing field. To explore this possibility, I called Scott Carmichael, a highly decorated retired counterintelligence investigator with the United States Defense Intelligence Agency, that the 2 Oxford-trained forensic accountants. The lead scientist The lead accountant, Sue Mortimer, had experience in international fraud and asset tracing, and the support accountant, Susan Phillips, was a chartered accountant in the United Kingdom. After a detailed review of my evidence, all three concluded that there were some things in Willie's past that might raise espionage red flags, but nothing that could be proven. There could be logical explanations for Willie's secrets. He was extremely frugal, so he could have amassed the money in his estate through legitimate means in an account hidden from his family. I was left with the unanswered question: where had the agents discovered in ticks from Long Island Sound come from? I think the most likely scenario is a military experiment gone wrong, or an accidental release from Plum Island Animal Disease Center of New York. Plum Island research focused primarily on animal diseases such as babesiosis, rickettsia, foot and mouth disease, duck plague, and swine flu virus. The researchers at Plum Island also raised large quantities of ticks, and they had a few containment breaches. To move beyond this roadblock, I decided to stop looking to the past for answers and instead look to the future by finding someone who could use new genetic tools to determine what unknown microbes were in the blood of chronic Lyme patients and to decipher the ancestral origins of the Swiss Agent USA. And that'll be it for today. We'll pick up on chapter 27 tomorrow.